Sorry.
What is up, everyone? Thank you for joining us again tonight on A Drink with Monty. Tonight, it's my beautiful wife and I. We do have two special people with us, Mary and Josh. They'll be interjecting periodically on whatever they feel like they should. Speaking of Josh, he was our last guest on the podcast. Josh is a Marine veteran, served our country for 4 years. He spoke on some pretty heavy stuff in regards to mental health and PTSD and just transition from the military life to everyday life. It fell right in line with Memorial Day, him being a veteran and all. Got a lot of really good feedback. I think we found us a new little podcaster. And Josh, he loved it. So Molly.
John.
On this A Drink with Monty episode, what have you chosen as your weapon of choice?
I am pulling out of my repertoire. Is that the word?
Repertoire.
Repertoire. Is that correct?
Yeah.
The weapon I chose tonight is a good one. John and I had a meeting over at Dry County in Kennesaw today, and we left with 4 little adult Capri Sun packs of frozen vodka lemonade slushies.
Dangerous.
Stick a straw in that thing, and it's dangerous.
Yeah, it was. I had mine way before this, but so it was really good.
Real good. Montague, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Basement Pog, or Passion Fruit Orange Guava.
Oh, POG is an acronym?
Yeah.
I see.
Yep.
Let me see that.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not much. You guys know
Passion fruit orange guava.
Yeah. I'm kind of a classier guy than that. I tend to go with like the Busch Light.
So classy.
And things like that. But tonight I'm really getting out of my comfort zone, and you can have some, sure. That's fine. Just take a big old swig of it with your nasty breath.
Can you smell me across the table?
Yeah.
All right. So what do we have going on tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to talk about a book that Molly and I both read a couple years ago, and since then have read it a couple more times. Mm-hmm. It is called The Five Lung Languages. It is called The 5 Love Languages. Molly read it before I did, and we were experiencing some pretty rough and rocky times, and she honestly had to beg me for a while to read this book.
No, I got you in the car on a road trip.
Yeah, that's
made
right.
you listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. But before that, for probably a couple months, you had asked me to read it, and I was just too stubborn and to even entertain the idea. And we were driving to Panama City or Tampa, and she was like, all right, you're stuck in the car with me for the next 6 hours, so.
No, you know what trip it was, actually? It was on our first anniversary. Let me think, because I was pregnant. It was our anniversary trip to Asheville.
Yeah, that's right. It was.
Was I pregnant with Maddox then?
Yep.
So
yeah.
It was our first anniversary road trip. We went up to Asheville, so it was a few hours. I got John stuck in the car with me.
Yeah, and you were dealing with some pretty bad hormones that pregnancy.
Yeah, having you as a guy to deal with wasn't that easy. I'm just kidding. It was our first year of marriage, and we were having a kiddo on the way. A lot going on.
So typical guy fashion, I was super stubborn and didn't even want to entertain the idea of a book teaching me how to be a husband or a friend or anything that goes along with being a spouse. But once I got into it, and Dr. Chapman, the author of this book, literally was referencing instances and thoughts and actions that I had been doing and thinking, and I was like, man, I need to listen to this. So we listened to it. We didn't really talk much about it after we listened to it. We enjoyed our vacation, and it wasn't until probably 2 weeks later that we really sat down and talked about it. So the premise of the book is a doctor, very well educated. He's got his PhD in philosophy and psychology,
No, I think it was actually linguistics. And
that too. He has multiple degrees.
Adult learning, he said. So his first degree was like learning how adults learn, the best way to teach adults, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so he pretty much describes every relationship and says that it revolves around 5 love languages. Basically, a love language is, how do you fill someone's love bucket? And I know these things sound funny, like a love bucket, blah, 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 but
it's really, a really great analogy.
Yeah, it is. So Molly and I talked about it. We figured out what each of our love languages were, and we implemented it, and we had a plan, and I'll be 100% honest with you in saying I do think that is what made all the difference in our relationship. And after, if you listen to it on Audible, after the author reads the book, there is a Q&A, I guess you would call it, after, and they go through a list of questions, commonly asked questions by people that read the book, and I would say about 95% of the questions that were asked I had, and he goes into great depth and detail about the questions. So it's an outstanding book, and tonight we're just going to talk about love languages, what it means to us, how we've implemented them, and things that we both feel could, save a marriage, I guess,
Yeah.
And the reason this is so important to us is because we've been there. We still have hopefully, knock on wood, we still have a long marriage ahead of us, and I'm sure that we're going to have our problems. But we had a lot of really big issues in the beginning, and they say that the first 2 years of marriage, and they talk about this in the book, the first year is your just absolute, like, love, infatuation,
honeymoon,
obsession.
The honeymoon stage. Everyone's heard of that.
Yeah. And
he refers to it as being in love. You're in love stage.
Yeah. And it's not till after the second year that you really not lose love, but you just fall out of that like obsession stage. Mm-hmm. And the reality of being married and the petty things that bother each other. Examples: shoes not in the right place, towel not getting hung up,
not closing the shower curtain. That was one of our big ones.
And like we've said before, everybody has a cup, and everybody, has their pet peeves. And just because you don't think and this is still my problem. Just because I don't think they're important or I think they're trivial, they're not. If it bothers your spouse, it's a true problem, and you need to take care of it and handle it. So.
Right, and sometimes there's like an underlying issue there. Like, I don't know, when I get annoyed with you about not shutting the shower curtain or something trivial like that, like, I mean, sure, it might annoy me on a normal day, but I mean, it's not going to affect our marriage unless there's underlying issues.
Yeah, there's usually something like those little things just make the big thing that much worse.
Right.
Or vice versa. The big thing makes those little things that much bigger.
Well, okay, so for people who haven't read the book or listened to the audiobook, 5 love languages. It's how you speak or receive love. It's your language of love. So he goes in and says, like, if someone who only speaks English was trying to converse with someone who only spoke Japanese, you could grunt and act it out and, sign and do all of these things. And maybe you could communicate in some way and you could, get your point across, but it would be awkward and it wouldn't be natural. But for you to hold a conversation with another person who spoke the same language as you, it's easy. It's just, you're just talking. So love languages are similar. I may show John love in my love language, the way that I intend to receive love, but he's not speaking the same language as me. So no matter how much I try to love him, he may not feel the love back. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's exactly right. So a common theme in these stories that he tells and these people that he talks to that have taken his seminars or read his book, he talks to one spouse, and I'll just use an example. He talks to Jan, and Jan says, Dr. Chapman, I rub his back and I pick up after him and I do all this stuff, and it just doesn't seem to work. I'm trying so hard. I'm giving love the way I would like to receive love, and it's just not working. And Dr. Chapman's like, well, you're speaking different languages. That's acts of service. And maybe that's not his love language. Although they're very great gestures, they're very nice gestures and stuff, but maybe that's just not how they perceive love. So,
right, she'll scratch his back, or she'll...
And these are just examples.
Yeah, we're just shooting from the hip here. She may, cook him dinner every night and do his laundry every day and make sure he's all set for work the next morning. And that's her way of showing him love. But then she gripes at him and gets onto him about little things. And his love language may be words of affirmation. Like, he just wants to be told what good job he's doing. So he's not receiving love in the way she's giving it. So the 5 love languages, what are they, John?
Yeah, so there's 5 love languages, and this is, again, what the book is based around. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, excuse me, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. So words of affirmation would be, to me, what that sounds like would just be support. Instead of...
Well, more than that, just speaking positively. Because if you say something in a negative tone, that could, diminish someone.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes away their drive to do anything. It's like, well, what's the point of me doing it if you're just going to crap on what I do?
Right.
So acts of service, again, we just kind of talked about that. Could be...
Doing dishes.
Yeah.
Painting the walls. Doing things.
So quality time is the third one, and that is Molly's big one. Basically, it is what it reads. Quality time is uninterrupted, undivided attention to your spouse. In today's age, we're all guilty of it. You're having a conversation and the phone goes off, or the kid starts crying, the dog's hungry, whatever, and you're not giving that person your undivided attention. Although you're in the same room, you're still halfway engaged in the conversation. You can repeat back what they've just said to you. You're not fully there, and you're not giving them your undivided attention. And I will be the first to admit I am horrible at that. I have so much shit going on all the time. It's a conscious effort to truly turn it all off and give my undivided attention to Molly. The fourth one is physical touch, and that's also a big one. Again, it's as simple as it sounds. The back rub, the kiss, the hug, the unsolicited touch, not necessarily sex. Right.
Well, not at all sex. He said in the book it's not referring to sex.
It is sometimes.
No, he said, just because a guy wants to have sex all the time, that doesn't mean that that's his physical touch is his love language. Okay. So, yeah, it's holding hands.
Or that flirty little arm rub when they're in public, the touch, the nudge, the wink, whatever.
Yeah, just the physical touch.
So, Molly, what would you say that your 2 love languages are?
Was that all 5?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and gifts, receiving gifts.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't say that one.
I'm sorry.
Obviously, that's not one of our big ones. What? Okay, so what did you say? What did you ask?
What would you say your 2 big love languages are?
Mine are definitely quality time's my main one. And he says in the book, you'll probably have a main one and then a secondary. Mine are quality time's my number 1 by far. And then physical touch, I think, is my second.
I would 100% agree with that.
A hug will make my entire day from Jon. But it also, I've noticed it kind of, now that I know that's one of my love languages, it's weird because I'm not a hugger in public.
Yeah, you're against the PDA.
No, not with you. I mean, with people. I'm not a hugger. I don't hug someone when I meet them kind of thing. You know how some people just hug everybody?
Me.
That, yeah, you hug everyone. It's awkward, kind of.
No, it's not.
So it made me think well, that's weird that that's a way I receive love from Jon, because from other people, I'm almost turned off from it. But maybe I just don't want randos to love me.
You're very stingy with your love.
Maybe I'm stingy with my love. But yeah, mine are quality time and physical touch.
Mine are words of affirmation.
That's your main one.
and acts of service.
Yep.
And I am the atypical guy that, I mean, I shouldn't even say that. I'm a type of guy that loves to get positive reinforcement from my wife. There is no better feeling to me than knowing that she supports everything I do and that she has my back. And all that seriousness aside, just, you know, I cut the grass and she comes home and says, "Damn, John, the grass looks great." Mm-hmm. Or, you know, we could go out to dinner tonight, but your steak is the best. Will you please cook me the steak?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that. So
we used to struggle with that because words of affirmation is so foreign to me. And same with what is it, the jobs? Acts of service. Those are both so foreign to me. I did not grow up like hoorahing everybody. Like pretty much if I'm not bitching at you, you're doing a good job. I don't know. And also like you used to do the dishes, or like you used to, I don't know, you would do something around the house and you're like, "Did you not even notice that I did the dishes?" And I would say like, "Well, that's your job as a member of the household to help out around the house. Like, why should I thank you for it?"
Right.
Like, I don't get a thank you for everything. But now realizing that that's your love language, I point things out. I try to make it a point too.
Yeah, and it makes all the difference in the world. It really does.
Right.
Even the little things. Yeah. My thing, and I try to live by the little things. How you handle the little things is a direct reflection on how you handle the big things. Right? So if you can compliment me and you give me words of affirmation and encouragement and support on the little things, you know, I guess I feel like those are, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like those are big things. They make me feel like they're big things. Does that make, am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. So like, you're just saying it's the little things that count. Like when I notice something little,
yeah,
it means everything in the world, because of course I'm going to notice something if you remodel the entire bathroom.
Just did that.
But like doing the dishes and the little things that, you know, took nothing. That's what you want recognition for.
Yeah. So sitting with us is our best friend, Mary.
Are you going to call her out?
Yeah. What are your love languages?
I'd have to say words of affirmation and physical touch. And
I'm surprised about physical touch.
I am too, because you're kind of a standoffish too.
I am, but like a shoulder rub, like at the end of the day, is like huge.
Yeah.
You know? I think like I carry a lot of stress and anxiety that I don't always have a healthy outlet for, and I don't get it out. So for Josh to recognize that when he gets home and like rub my feet or just rub my back, like that's a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Have you guys...
It's a little thing that means everything.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had this conversation, maybe not like in this exact context, but have you guys, do you think that you guys know each other's love languages?
Yeah, I think so. Josh needs words of affirmation too. That's totally him. Like, it's amazing, like the damage I can do to Josh by like put downs or
oh my God, it kills me.
Versus like when I lift him up.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, it's not only what improves a relationship, but doing
the little things can destroy somebody.
It's a bigger deal to that person than you think.
Yeah.
It is.
I can go to work and get mother effed by a peer, somebody I really look up to, and it sucks and I hate it, and then come home and get told, or like Molly gets on to me about something. So little, and that hurts so much worse than what happened at work or with one of my friends, you know?
Yeah,
That's
or
a
like
great point.
Or like if you, and I'm just using examples, I don't know, but like if you do the dishes
and I don't scrub all of the freaking molecular particles off of them, you're like, "John, these can't go in the dishwasher like this." And I'm like, literally, I let them soak in hot water and then I scrub them. and you found the one morsel that I missed. And it's like the entire evolution of me cleaning dishes is garbage.
Fine. I know. I'm the worst husband in the world.
Yeah, but that's the way I feel at that time. It's like, okay, I washed 87 freaking dishes and you find the one damn dish. And that just negates the entire hour of dishwashing I did.
It's nitpicking, and women have a tendency to do that a lot more than men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I stay at home with our son, and that's all I do. Like, my home is like my workplace, and I have it a certain way, and then I have another person who's totally different come home, and he does something different than I do it, and I say something, and I'm like, was that really necessary?
Yeah.
Like, him throwing his wet towel on the floor, was that necessary?
I don't do that anymore.
Like, was the comment, did it do more good?
Exactly. That
Right.
is my thing. Like, what
Is
did
it
you
worth
want to
it?
achieve
Yeah.
by that?
Exactly.
You know it just shuts the other person down. You know that it causes nothing but tension. Why? Why? Like, just
Well-
pick the damn towel up.
I will say this. In my defense, I have to verbalize a lot with Josh because I tend to shut down and just internalize things. And then he's like, why are you being quiet? Why aren't you talking? What's
Yeah.
wrong? And so I have to verbalize, but I think it's just like having that filter in your head of, is this going to do more damage than good? And is it like a matter that's that necessary to cover?
Right.
To where it's going to put everybody in a mood the rest of the day.
I'm going to drop a bomb right here.
Oh my God.
Mary, would you say that's picking your battles?
I pick my
If I had a flag and it said bullshit on it, I would throw it.
You just don't know how many battles I'm having to choose from.
No,
is
I
the
just
issue.
you just nitpick so much shit.
It is, but as women, we always want to hold our partners accountable too.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Go in the corner, say a couple MFs, and get over it.
But it's frustrating. Okay, so one of my huge pet peeves, I'm bad about this with John, with the kids at work, everything. I hate repeating myself.
Yeah.
I hate having to say the same shit again. Like, I literally just said this. Do you want me to put it in different words?
Yeah.
So that's what goes on in my head when I get home from work and there's crap on the floor or something. I'm like, or like shoes next to the shoe rack or dirty clothes next to the hamper. Like, really, you couldn't make it 6 more inches?
And I come home and I see the same thing, and in my head, I'm like, really? We got into a legit 40-minute debate about this, and I come home and my sweatpants that you wore yesterday are sitting next to your freaking hamper. But nope, I don't say anything. I just let it go and wash the dishes and F up a plate. So
This is why women live longer than men. We get all our frustrations out, and you guys just
Bottle it.
bottle it
maybe.
up.
So the big thing, and what drew me to want to, well, really it was Molly's idea, and I thought it was a great idea. What I think is so important about this is in the fire department, people get married so young and they get divorced so fast. And that may
You
be
think
just
they get
life.
divorced so
yes,
fast?
absolutely. Absolutely. Because you have to think, on top of all that, like you and I have talked about before, you and I will get into it never fails. We'll get into an argument the night before shift. That is always how it happens.
Oh, it's always the night before shift.
Yeah.
Always.
So
every single time.
we'll have to go to work, and we're trying to communicate over phone call or text message, and I'll call you back, and the kids are freaking out. And that just feeds into it. So I noticed that a lot of firefighters, I think, could benefit from listening to this and truly implementing it. It's one thing to listen to this book, but and this dude is huge on note cards and writing things down and keeping a journal.
I hate that.
Yeah, I don't keep a journal. I'm cool.
I tried it for, I think it was maybe my New Year's resolution or
Yeah, it
something.
was.
I made it like a day.
And no, you made it longer. I got you a cool, like, leather-bound book.
I know the kids have colored all in it now.
But I really think that implementing these things and hearing this book could make a huge difference if you truly listen to it and take it to heart.
And, you know, not even if you're in a relationship right now, but I've used it, even for management, we've talked about like I help manage a company, and like people who work under me, a lot of them are very different than me. Like I'm extremely like type A. Well, I don't even know if that has anything to do with the love languages. But anyways, I'll recognize if one of my coworkers needs words of affirmation, and I'll just shoot them a quick email like, hey, great job this week. You're amazing. Love you, or whatever. And that like makes their day.
Yeah, no, I agree. 100%.
Where I'd be like, why are you filling up my inbox? I'm kidding.
One more thing I have to delete.
I'm not heartless.
I've got to take 30 seconds out of my day and delete this email.
I'm kidding. I don't think I would think that if
Good,
someone did
like,
that.
for your help too, to give that back.
Just to be
someone.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it takes 5 minutes to do that, and it, I think, changes your day and the other person.
Yeah. 100%. And they could be like hating me for something I complained about a couple days ago, and all of that just like goes out the windows. Yeah. So, I mean, not only in marriages, not only in relationships, you can use this in your relationships with your friends, or like if your friends are feeling unappreciated or coworkers are feeling unappreciated. Like, you know, I implement this honestly in my entire life. This book's amazing. It was eye-opening for me for sure.
It was. And I talked to a lot of the newer firefighters that come through. And again, I feel like the 19-year-old joins the fire service, gets a girlfriend, and then a year later is married. That's like the trend. You know, I feel like that is.
I
just
feel like
how it
that's
goes.
military too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's.
Mary is Josh's husband.
Mary is
I am Josh's husband. Pretty much.
Mary is Josh's husband.
No.
He is my wife.
Yeah, my bad. We'll switch that. Mary is Josh's wife. Sorry. Damn, vodka drinks are really kicking in.
Oh, those to-go slushies, let me tell you.
Tri-County.
So I hear these guys come through, and it's the typical first year. They're in love. They're getting campers. They're camping. Everything is so perfect, and it's almost like 365 days later, they're like, God, my wife is just driving me crazy. And another big thing is, and recently I've been talking to people about this, and they say, my wife has told me that when I'm home, I'm not home. I'm just checked out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can relate 1,000% to that statement.
but not even. Last time we talked about the whole, you know, you come home and you're talking to friends. You come home and you're texting people from the fire department. It's not even that. It's just
You're mentally checked out. Like I asked you 2 days ago, I'm like, are you irritated with me? And you were like, no, I'm just stressed out about something. And you were just like thinking of something in your head. But I felt like you were irritated with me.
I think a solid portion of it also is the whole, you go to work and you deal with the worst of the worst, and you come home and things don't seem that big of a deal. You know, we talked about last time, when you're not at the fire department, you live in La La Land and everything is butterflies and rainbows, and you go to the fire department and you deal with people's worst moments and hours, and then you come home and you're expected just to get back to La La Land like nothing ever happened.
Like, really, is the grime on the dish really that important?
Well, not even that. Just, you know, yeah, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Absolutely. You know, it's tough to deal with the things that we see sometimes and then come home and be like, you're really going to freaking get mad because the towel is 6 inches away from the towel rack. Come on.
Yeah.
But again, you have to get back to La La Land and realize that that's what real life is.
Yeah. That's what the rest of us go through.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could happen outside of your job. That could be with someone dealing with health issues, or someone in their family they're stressed about something that's just way more important than the crap you're whining about right now. And that goes back to give your significant other the benefit of the doubt. Like trust that if I'm annoyed with you, I'll tell you I'm annoyed with you, kind of thing.
Yeah, but then you have the instances where you are annoyed with that person and you just have to process it, and it's not even worth the 30-minute debate it's going to turn into.
See, I disagree with that, because I think if something's going on, you should at least verbalize it instead of saying, no, nothing's wrong, no, nothing's wrong, and then a day later finally tell me that something's wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That's stupid. But no.
So in that instance, you could say like, yeah, I'm annoyed, but I just don't want to talk about it right now. And then,
but you know as well as I do, it's
I know,
not
and
that
then
easy.
I'm supposed to say, I respect your need to hold on to this for a second, which I don't do
At all.
It's got to be addressed. All right, so your love languages, Jonathan. One is acts of service, and the other is words of affirmation.
My main is words of affirmation.
Okay.
Just to go back to what I was saying, it means so much to know that your spouse just notices the little things. In my head, it's like, why even do the little things? It's not that I need a pat on the back to do the little things. It's when you nitpick the other little things that I don't do. It's like you don't recognize the good I do, and all you do is recognize the bad I do, so why I do good.
Yeah. Well, you like to be recognized for the good you do.
I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's the negative is more harmful than the positive is positive. It's a net negative.
Whoa.
It's
I don't think it's always like a morale boost either for a lot of people. I think, like, clearly a lot of the things you do are just to put a positive light out there for as many people as you can. And sometimes, like, those words of affirmation are needed to make sure that, just to confirm that you're doing what you're set out to do.
that you keep on the right track or whatever.
Yeah, like, am I achieving the goals I'm trying to achieve? Like, am I making a difference for someone right now?
Sure.
You know? I think that's my thing. Like, I always want to know that I'm being a positive light in someone's life.
Well, you're a pleaser. You
Yeah,
like to make
absolutely.
sure people are happy and comfortable, and
Yeah.
so it's just like a confirmation
Yeah.
that you're doing the right thing and that you're making people happy.
Exactly. And it's so funny that I need that, because I'm not good at giving words of affirmation always. So it's funny that it's almost like what you need is almost what you lack giving back at sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting.
And that's kind of what I was saying with like hugs.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you hold it more dear. Like you don't just throw it out because it means something to
It's
you.
a different meaning to you than someone else who,
Yeah.
like, you meet someone and they're like, I'm a hugger, and you're like, oh,
You're like, ah.
great. I'm not. I just met you.
I just stiffened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like you almost like being a words of affirmation person, you would recognize the fact that those words are important, and you wouldn't necessarily throw them at everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes that's not that that's your insecurity, that's what you need, but if that's what you're like, if that's what you need in your life, then you may not perfectly like understand how to give it back.
Right.
Know? If that's what you're longing for.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think these things, and I'm speaking of the fire service because that's all I know, But I think these things are so huge because the time together is so few and far between that the little time you do get with each other, it's so important to have your love bucket full.
Yeah. Okay, so hold on. Let's talk about gifts, because that's not either of ours. Gifts are like, they don't have to be going out and buying things, although they can be that. They are, bringing home a flower that you picked on the side of the road because you thought your wife would think it's pretty, or
making her a leather purse.
Yeah, gifts are not my love language, but I would really love a new purse, please.
Or even just like,
thank you,
Mary,
I don't know
for
if
saving
you
me.
can
Categorize this under it, but like fixing something that,
Yeah.
maybe you can't get around to, or you don't know how to do it, but your significant other knows,
Yeah,
what to do,
or just
has
like
those skills to do so.
That's a whole nother topic.
that could also be acts of service, though.
Yeah.
Like saying like I do that, like, oh man, no, one day, do you remember the one day we came home and I was like, my dad must have come by, the trash is already put up, and you were like, I put the trash up, you asshole.
Yep, I remember that.
You were giving Benny all the credit.
So
I know he does that when he comes over, though.
to get off on that tangent,
That was, I seriously stuck my foot in my mouth that day. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
ha ha ha, ha ha ha. No, so something that Molly and I struggle with is, I work from home on my off days, and I go to work for 24 hours and I come home and I have a list of my own shit that I have to do and is so important, and it's work to me. It's my second job. But Molly has a laundry list of things to do, and she, in my head, thinks that I'm home, I'm just sitting around doing nothing, I'm watching TV.
I don't think that. I don't think that at all.
You absolutely did.
No, that's not the case. I know you work. I know you do things and work when you get home. I know that, but
so in Molly's head originally, but when this all came about, was I'm home, I have all this spare time to do all the honey-do list things, and I don't, because I have this huge laundry list of things to do that are my things, but she has paint the bathroom, build a frame for the mirror. And those are just examples. And I don't do them, and I come home and it's freaking hell to pay. But in my head, I've done a ton of stuff. I've got my list of things done, and you don't recognize those things because they weren't your things that needed to get done.
Can I rebuttal?
I knew you were going to, so yeah.
It's not that I thought you came home and didn't do anything. It's not that. I know you come home and I know you work and I know you have things to do. However, I also hold a full-time job. I also work crazy hours at some times, but I still have to do everything when you're gone. So not only do I work, but I get things done for this house, because that's what has to be done when you run a household and you own a house. So my thing was, I get you did your laundry list of things, but not one of those benefited the house. They all benefited your second job.
In my head, they did.
Making radio straps does not benefit this house other than monetarily.
Pays for daycare.
Yeah. And I also work a full-time job that pays for things. And then I come home and I take care of the house. So my thing with that was and is, you have to be able to do both. Because I'm not a stay-at-home mom that takes care of the house, and I think that's amazing for people who are able to do that. But we don't. We rely on my income very much. So it's not like it should be my job to take care of the house. It should be our job to take care of the house. And I'm not all for those gender roles. Like, I'm not going to cook and clean and do laundry alone. I think that's all of our jobs.
You're not for gender roles unless it's taking out the trash, picking up the bug on the floor.
I take out the trash when you're gone.
Puke. No, you don't. I will come home and there will be another trash bag hanging on the pantry door and the trash can will
That
be
is
overflowing.
because the kids were being little terrorists and I couldn't walk out to the road. I do take out the trash, not as much as you. I don't do the yard work. That's something I don't do. And I don't like bugs.
But no gender roles.
I just don't think cooking and cleaning and all of that should be all on me.
I cook most of the time.
Most of the time?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
would
make
say,
a
like,
mad bowl of
Peanut butter
cereal.
and jelly.
Oh, I make good.
Grilled cheese. You don't even make good grilled cheese.
Maddox doesn't even like my PB&J because I
Or
don't
your
put enough
eggs.
jelly on it.
He hates
Because
your
I
eggs.
sneak spinach in there and he doesn't
No, you
like
burn
that.
the shit out of them and the whole house stinks like burnt eggs. Like today when you made your stupid little freaking wrap with egg, it reeked like butthole all
Oh, it was
day.
good.
I
That was really good. I'm not forcing you to eat it.
No, but you get offended when you offer me a bite and I'm like, God, no. I hope other couples listen to this.
We're not posting this one. This is a rant of us.
No, I love this. I hope other
it's
couples
good.
listen to this and they're like, holy shit. I'm not the only one that is going through this, and I'm not the only one that is complaining about this stuff.
This is our life every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. We struggle with the same stuff, and it's never going to be perfect, and we're never going to fully get each other because I'm obsessive compulsive about things and Josh is not.
Yep.
Not about the house or what our kid eats for breakfast necessarily, but
I'm getting Duncan for my little kids.
there's also things, I mean, he's a machine gunner veteran and I've moved his guns before, like tidying up, like putting things in drawers.
Josh, you left your damn AK out.
But I've actually just slightly moved his guns, and he's like, please don't do that. Like, he's very obsessive about that. He's like, I know exactly where that is in the case that, like, something ever happened and I needed it. I know exactly where to grab, like,
Yeah.
and get it from, and I can't have you moving that and shifting it around.
I wish
get
Josh
that.
was up here.
You know, like, and he's just being tactful with that, like, and I'm tactful in my own ways with my stuff, like,
Right.
you know, it is what it is, and
I think
just have
everyone-
to try to have more understanding of
Yeah.
each other.
I think everyone experiences those same issues on different levels. Like, I'm trying to think of something you're OCD about, but I can't think of one because you're not. Oh my gosh. We need to tell the story when we went to the counselor's office and she made us take that test. Do you remember that test?
No.
You don't remember that? And it was this test and it asked you like a ton of different questions in different ways, and then you had to add up your scores in every column, and like it gave you different categories if you're like on the low end, on the high end, on the moderate end. You don't remember this?
I mean, I remember it, but I don't know where you're going with it.
So when we got to the end, John and I took our tests separately and we added them all up, and they gave you like a line, like a in the middle, high, low line. And I was either below the low line or above the high line on everything. I was so like black and white about everything. And John just rode the middle line on everything, literally every single one. And I'm like, this makes me look like a psycho bitch. Like,
I do remember sitting in the counselor's office, and she was asking us. It was one of the first sessions we had, and she was just getting to know us, and she, what is it that you guys are unhappy about? And we both just kind of stared at her like, we don't know.
We don't know.
And she said, okay, well, do you guys,
that's why we're here.
do you guys argue about finances? And we were both like, no. Okay, well, do you guys argue about religion? No. Okay. Do you guys argue about parenting styles? No. And she kind of stared at us and was like, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, and I would love for you guys to continue to come here, but why are you here? you know, and I think that was big for us because like we said in the last podcast, we had a discussion before we went to the counselor, and we were both like, what is wrong with us? Why are we having so many problems? And I do attribute it 100% to we didn't know or we weren't living up to each other's love languages. And we were just in a mindset that everything was horrible. We had just fallen in such a dark spot that...
I don't think we ever thought it was horrible.
No, I thought it was horrible.
Oh. Well,
I'll be honest with you.
It was just, we were coexisting at that point.
Yeah, we were just going with we had this mundane, horrible routine that didn't benefit either of us. Mm-hmm. And we had just fallen into a freaking darkness and we couldn't see out of it.
Right. Because our love tanks were empty. Completely empty. But both of us were trying, and we had that argument all the time, like, I'm trying, what do you want from me? Like, can I do anything right? But we weren't doing the right things.
But people are so quick to throw in the towel.
Yeah, and that's one thing we talked about. We both come from divorced families, so we talked about that when we were getting married, like listen, I only want to get married once. I know people say that, but Jon and I take it extremely seriously. Like, we're only getting married once. And we used to say, like, I don't believe in divorce, but that's so, like, matter of fact. I feel like that's not practical. But we think divorce is last resort. Like, nothing horrible has happened in our relationship, and we would never, like, risk our children's well-being and just, like, dip out over nothing, really nothing, just because our love tanks are empty. So instead, we tried to figure out what was wrong. We like to dissect issues anyway. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Including our own, I suppose.
I don't even know. It's always like a major issue. Either just the title of that book, like languages, it's just a lot of times a misunderstanding, mm-hmm. and both parties are not making that full attempt of understanding each other, because we're not cut from the same cloth. We're all different. We're never gonna fully see eye to eye on every single thing.
Exactly.
And I see that a lot. I've known a lot of couples, my parents included, and it just was a lack of understanding, you mm-hmm. know?
Like, if you really put in the effort and dove into it, you probably could have made it work. Because
I would say that is, once it's all said and done and the divorce is over, the wounds are healed and you're thinking rationally, I would bet that a large majority of the folks that have been through a divorce will say, I know why, and it wasn't worth it. We were both just so headstrong and so gung-ho about being right and not being wrong, and we just gave up. But if we would have worked through it, we would still be fine. We would be better.
Right. I think pride is a big thing.
Big time.
That's one of my big things, because in a marriage, you have no pride. All pride has to be aside. And that's something, I'm an extremely prideful person, and that was and is, that's still an ongoing issue with me, just putting my pride aside and admitting that I didn't say that the right way, or I didn't handle that situation correctly, or I didn't have to make it that big of a deal, or whatever.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I feel like I've matured a little bit from there. Like, I have an easier time of saying, yeah, I was absolutely, like, out of line with that. But I think also, too, like, it depends on your partner and if they're willing to receive it and mm-hmm. accept that. And I think a lot of times too in relationships you see the other person not being accepting of it and receiving that and taking it as okay, like they made a flawed decision or a mistake in that situation, and okay, let's move on.
Right.
A lot of people have a hard time like letting go of anger and resentment too, which is an issue I think in a lot of relationships.
Absolutely. And the person in your eyes in the moment may not be deserving of that grace or that forgiveness.
And you got to think of outside input as well. I know that I can go to the fire department tomorrow and tell my guys about what happened. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to have my back, whether I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
So you go to work and my wife, she's nagging me about not putting my socks in the right drawer, and she's just nitpicking. And instead of them being like, well, dude, save an argument, take the extra 3 seconds to put the damn socks in the right drawer. They're going to be like, man, why is she being like that? It's so stupid.
Oh, girls are the same way.
No, and I know that, but I'm just saying, like, you have to think of the outside input. That does not help either. Because
it just kind of puts you on your high horse and makes you feel like
you get high and mighty, and you're like, when you guys do decide to talk, you're on this pedestal that everybody around you has put you on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, girlfriends are so bad at that.
Absolute worst. I know, they freaking suck.
You love my girlfriends.
Yeah, I do.
You have to say that one sitting right next to us.
I don't know. I mean, when you and I vent, I don't like dog on John. I'm just like, oh,
you can be honest. You can say
No, Mary really doesn't. But we also have the relationship. We're both in committed relationships. We know that, like, at that point, it's just a vent session. Like, Marian and I have that understanding, like, I'm just complaining about something and I'll get over it kind of thing. Whereas, like, some girls, if you complain to them, and I know you, like, if you complain to them, they think your marriage is in shambles. And they're like, it changes their entire perspective of your husband if you complain to certain people. And they're like, oh, what an asshole, mom. And they like legit think that. And then you have negative energy within the relationships that you bring into your marriage.
Guys are not like that.
No, guys aren't necessarily like that, but a lot of women are.
Yeah, women tend to, I don't know, they have that mindset of, well, men are just all this. Men are just all that.
Yeah.
Buffoon assholes.
Exactly. And it becomes like, you don't necessarily vent about it to bash your partner. You're just like
venting.
I just need to get this out because I don't want to fight with them about it because it's stupid, but I'm annoyed.
Exactly.
Like, I just need to vent.
So thinking about it, and I reference the fire service because it's all I know again. But you either get like one end of the spectrum or the other. So you get, in my opinion, in my experience, the younger guys are the ones that are like, dude, she is being such a pain in your ass. That's so stupid. But then you get the guys who are a little bit older, they've been married for a while. They're like, bro, you're being an idiot. Just tell her you're sorry, and you'll try and not pee on the floor, or you'll put your socks in the right spot. It's just that easy. And you're like, shut up, dude. That's stupid. So thinking about it, I will say that the older folks tend to give more sound advice, but they're the ones that you never want to talk to because they don't tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's tough because I don't know. Like, I love to get advice from more so seasoned people than the people, and not that I label that as ignorance, but they're just not there, like in the place I may be.
Yeah, I guess like ignorant from the true definition of ignorance.
Yeah, like I have friends who, not friends, but I know people who live in a false reality, or they...
Social media paints that as well.
Yes.
100%.
Or they, are typically just kind of used to getting their way in arguments. I don't want my way in arguments.
Mm-hmm.
I am like open for a back and forth.
Do not act like that is what you want. You want your way, and that is it.
I think she wants to get her point across. I don't know that
I
it's
agree.
so much her way.
She wants her point across, and no other point is relevant. And I say all this, and I'm halfway kidding when I say this.
Halfway.
Yeah, sit there and just keep your mouth shut, John.
She will literally tell me that. Let me just say what I want to say to you, and you don't talk.
Yeah,
Sometimes-
you always interrupt me.
Because I don't like you say something, and I don't want you to keep going if you said something I don't agree with. One, because I'll forget to go back and revisit it.
You should start taking like notes.
You wouldn't want that
during our
because I
arguments.
poo-poo on you all the time. You wouldn't want me to take notes because I would dominate you in discussions.
Let's try it. I'll give you a pen and paper. Let you have the leg up on me.
And it doesn't have to be like a debate, but
No, you're right. It shouldn't. It should be both of you getting your feelings and thoughts out, understanding where each other are coming from, and finding a happy median.
yeah, like I'm always curious to know how Josh responds to like my emotions about something or my anger about something. I'm looking at houses. Oh, I thought you were looking at the computer. Like I am curious about that because I do care about how I make him feel in that situation. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't ever want to make him feel like shit or belittle
must be
him.
nice.
I mean, I know what that feels like. I was in a relationship like that and it sucks. I wouldn't want to treat him like that or make him feel the way I felt before.
Right.
So his opinion about the matter does matter, but yeah, I'll be damn sure I get what I'm feeling about it out.
Well, you
Right.
should, and you should, and I am kidding
Yeah.
about a lot of stuff, but I do think that it is very important for both parties to get what they want to say out without being interrupted or an eye roll or whatever, and I do that. And that's very important. It's just to be heard, and not only heard, but understood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my big one. I'll be like, you didn't hear anything I just said.
And I'll repeat what you said, but that means nothing. It's easy to listen and hear what someone says, but to truly understand and empathize is a whole nother issue.
Like, I can tell when you're listening to make a rebuttal instead of truly hearing my words, processing them, and forming an opinion about it. You are listening for your part to rebuttal sometimes.
I think a lot of us are guilty of that though, like listening to respond.
Right.
Yeah, like
Instead of just truly hearing it and processing it before you form a response.
Well, it's so hard. It's so hard because your spouse gets on a rant and they address like 5 different things, and it's like, hold the phone. Let me talk about or rebuttal or put in my 2 cents about the last 3 things you just said. Because for me specifically, again, I will forget. I like, or I'll get so heated about something else that I'll forget to go back and revisit what was said 2 minutes ago.
I get that way. I get like overwhelmed. I'm like, let's hit one topic at a time.
Yeah, I say that a lot.
Because by the end of the night, we've like talked about, or we've brought up 8 topics, you know, and we've only really we've only gone into one. And did we even accomplish that one? Probably not. It's like an incomplete conversation, you know?
Right.
I get that way. I get really overwhelmed.
All of this being said, I think that everybody, not just the fire service, every person in any kind of relationship, whether it be marriage, friendship, leadership, business, I think everybody could benefit from this book. And I am a testament to this book. And I'm saying all this with like a true heart. I do believe that this book will make a difference. Not just reading it, but you truly have to like implement it and dissect it. And I do believe that in between each chapter, he'll take a minute and ask you a question like for you to think about.
Right.
You know, like, all right, self-reflection time. What would you do in this situation, or what do you think the best response to this would be?
Like in the intro, he starts the book obviously with an intro. He's explaining it, blah blah blah, and then his question is, answer this question. There would be less divorces in this world if blank. And that will key you in on your main love language.
So, Molly, there would be less divorces in this world if...
I feel like if people put away the technology and the work and the distractions and were just with one another and remembered why they got together in the first place and what made them be together in the first place.
I would agree with that. I would say communication, but I think that kind of falls right in line with what you're saying.
Sure.
And not just... what you said is very true, and I 100% agree with that, but communication in the sense of truly talking. When there's something wrong, say it. When there's something bothering you, say it. And say it. You want to say what you want to say, and you want to be true and not sugarcoat, but no matter what, you're going to have to tailor what you say. You can't come out and MF, bullshit, damn it, hell, because instantly that puts someone's wall up. It is all about presentation. If I've done something wrong and Molly comes to me and is like, hey, you dummy, you didn't freaking do this. I knew you wouldn't do this. I'm instantly going to shut down. Whether she's right or wrong, I'm going to shut down and my wall is going to be up and I'm going to try and defend myself. Mm-hmm. To where if she came, and these are just examples, to where if she came to me and said, hey, look, I know you were busy. I know you had your hands full today. I really wanted you to cut the grass. Do you think you can please do it tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm so sorry I didn't cut the grass today. You're right. You asked me to do it. It's first on my list of things to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's all about presentation. And it's hard to get away from that. It's hard to put your emotions in check because of work and the kids and money and in-laws and parents that are pissing you off. So.
All right, John. There would be less divorces today if...
I just answered that.
No, I answered it, and then you played off my answer.
Oh, well, that was my answer. Communication.
Communication. Okay, Mary. There would be less divorces in the world today if...
I think cutting down on outside involvement. So I guess kind of back to what you were saying, but... more of individual relationships too.
Yeah.
I see a lot of married couples put their friendships like before their marriages.
Or even their other family.
Yeah.
Kids.
And kids, yeah.
Kids definitely complicated.
You got to remember you were married. Well, not always, but
Not always married.
you're a couple first.
Yeah.
Whether the kids came before that or not.
Right.
You're a couple first. The kids, as shitty as it sounds, the kids come second.
Yeah.
Your spouse is always number one.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, when you're on an airplane, you got to put your mask on first before you help someone else. You can't help anybody if you're drowning, too.
Yeah, take care of the foundation.
Exactly.
This was good.
This was long.
So this was kind of a long podcast, and this is something that I truly enjoy talking about. I enjoy doing this podcast because, number one, it's something Molly and I do together, but we talk things out and we hear each other. I just think it's very therapeutic.
Sure.
Getting things across to listeners and friends that listen to this is very important, but the last 5 episodes, I've learned so much, and hearing myself say things, I'll put all this podcast stuff away and go sit down and think, man, I definitely took something away from this. And hearing myself say, or Molly, hearing myself say something and then listening to Molly say something, it kind of reiterates what I know and kind of puts it back in like the forefront of things.
Yeah, it makes it all, present.
Yeah, definitely. So I enjoy this. I hope everybody gets something from it, but at the end of the day, this is totally for me and Molly.
Yeah. We do it for the public outlet.
Sure, yeah, definitely. But this is, after the first couple episodes, I've realized that this is really good for me and Molly.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I hope people take this and hear it and can learn something. And again, listen to this and be like, damn, I am so glad that I'm not the only one that gets bitched at for leaving my shoes next to the shoe rack. I mean, but seriously though,
Yeah.
I was leaving the station and a guy floated in and came up to my car as I was pulling out and said, dude, I've listened to your podcast and I made my wife listen to the first relationship episode you guys did. And,
oh, that's cool.
And well, you were on the phone. You were on speakerphone. This was 2 days ago. And that was awesome. That one person that said that made all of this totally worth it.
Sure. Yeah.
For real. It was awesome.
Yeah, so that's the end of this one. We hope you got something out of it. Go out, read that book. I think we're actually able to send them as a gift through Audible because we bought it. Hit us up. We'll send it to you.
Yeah, we'll for sure send it to you.
Listen to it with your spouse. Pause after every chapter and talk about it. It was just a really, really great way for us to know what to talk about and to structure our conversations around where our marriage was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, whatever.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends.
We're on all major podcasts. Again, like Molly said, please share this, subscribe, like it. The more people that hear this, the better.
And give us your feedback. What do you want to hear?
Yes.
What do you like, dislike about what we're doing? Give us all your feedback. We want it all.
Thank y'all very much and be safe. Stay corona free.
Corona free is the way to be.
#.
Holla.